Hey everybody, Jeff Schneider here. In today's video, I'm going to do a new segment. This is about how to make money as a musician, how to make a living as a musician. It's going to be a multi-part series. And for today's video, it's going to be some very basic fundamentals that a lot of you might be aware of already, but it does not hurt to repeat these really important fundamentals about how to make a living doing anything really, but especially with music. Because the thing with being a musician is it's just like being an entrepreneur. You have to basically run your own business, which means you have to sell yourself, you have to market yourself, you have to do your own finances, and of course you have to be really good at music too. So there's a lot to take on. But today we're going to be talking about just a couple of things. We're going to talk about people skills and professionalism, two things that are just so important. Again, a lot of the stuff you guys may have heard before, but it really is an important reminder. And for those of you who haven't heard these things, then this is going to be a really important video for you too. So let's talk about why you need people skills and professionalism in the first place. Well, the thing is, the money that you want to get to make your living is going to come from other people, whether it's club owners or booking agents or band leaders or other musicians or fans or students or parents of students. All these people, they're going to be giving them or giving you their money so that you can make your living. So it can't hurt to be good with people in order to get other people's money. So hopefully when you take somebody's money, you also add value back to them in some way, whether it's teaching them something or performing for them, whatever the case may be. But let's get right to these skills. And a lot of them are going to apply to people you already know, but definitely to people that you haven't met yet and that you want to meet or that you need to meet. So the first thing is you got to give somebody a firm handshake when you meet them. I know, very basic, but so important. So many people don't handshake at all, or when they do, it's very sort of limp, the dead fish grip. This is not going to work. You got to give a firm handshake. It really makes a difference, especially in a professional situation. Also, this one is so important. You have to learn the names of the people you're interacting with. I know, so basic, but so many people forget names or they say, oh, I'm so bad with names. You're not allowed to use that excuse. Learn people's names and use them. That's the other thing. If you're not using somebody's name, it's, what's the point? The other thing is when you use somebody's name multiple times, especially when you just meet them, it's going to help you memorize them, memorize their name the next time you see them. And that can be so effective because if you remember somebody's name after not seeing them for a little bit, it means a lot to that person that you know who they are. It goes a long way and it's so easy to do. So memorize people's names and use them. As I said, being a musician, making a living doing music, you have to do a little bit of selling. You have to sell yourself to a certain extent, which means you have to talk to people and talk to people you may not know, whether it's a booking manager or a club owner or a potential band leader that somebody you want to work with. You have to be able to go up to people and you can't be afraid to strike up a conversation. I know for a lot of people, talking to somebody you don't know can be really nerve-wracking, especially if that person is somebody you might admire or somebody who could be a potential employer. But you got to do it. You have to get the guts to go up to people and talk to them. So have some questions ready, have a couple of conversation ideas ready, and that'll make it a little bit easier. And don't psych yourself out. So as soon as you see the person, go up to them and say hello. A lot of the time, if you wait around and you're like, oh, is it the right time? Is it the right time? Is it the right time? And you never end up going because you psych yourself out. So just go, do it, go. Now, when you're actually speaking to somebody, if it's somebody you don't know or it's somebody you do know, listen. You want to listen more than you speak. That's a real golden rule. If you're somebody who talks all the time and never listens or never asks questions, then nobody's going to want to talk to you. And if nobody's going to want to talk to you, they're not going to want to hire you. There are so many good musicians out there. I know when I've hired musicians, I'm not going to hire somebody who's a prick. I want to hire somebody who I get along with, who's easy to work with. Just because somebody might be really good at music, it doesn't mean they can get away with being rude to people or just not being personable. There's too many good musicians out there and too many good musicians who also are easy to work with. Now, as I said, it's important to ask questions. It's important to listen. But, at a certain point, you will have to talk about yourself when you're talking to somebody else. And when you do, talk about yourself in a positive way. Be confident about what you do and who you are. You can be sure of yourself to a certain extent. It doesn't mean you should be bragging, but be sure of yourself. Say who you are and be confident about what you do. And it can really help to plan that sort of elevator pitch out in advance of meeting somebody. And it should be short. Elevator pitch is, 30 seconds or less. Now, this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say in this video, and that is you have to follow up with people. If you're reaching out to somebody over email or calling somebody or meeting somebody in person, after that initial point of contact, whether you speak to them or you just leave a voicemail or you email them and you don't hear back, you still have to follow up, even if you don't hear back from somebody. You follow up again and again and again. Be polite, but don't be afraid to say, check in every once in a while. I'm not saying to email somebody multiple times a day, but maybe once a week, once a month. Keep in touch. Try to maintain and develop a relationship. So important. Which brings me to my last point. If you want to get work from somebody, or if you want to work with somebody, you don't want to try to go all the way on the first date per se. Meaning you need to develop a relationship over time before you ask for something. So see how you can bring value to a relationship before you try to, ask for something. This really is important because so many people reach out to strangers and they ask for something right after meeting them for the first time, and they don't know you. Why should they give you anything? So develop a relationship over time. Think of it like dating. You're not going to marry somebody after the first date, so you have to take your time. And that goes right along with following up. Develop the relationship. If somebody gets back to you, be prompt about getting back to them. Don't wait 4 days to answer somebody's email. Email you can answer in 1 day. No more than that. Same goes for calling and texting. If you want to get work from somebody, you really should be on top of that game. Just a couple more things about following up. You want to be top of mind, which means if somebody needs a musician for a particular gig, they want to think of your name for that position because you've been the one who's been checking in, once a month. And after 6 months of checking in once a month and they need, a keyboard player or something, they're more than likely going to think of you versus somebody they met just randomly once in the past 6 months because you've been the one who's developed the relationship and you're top of mind. Okay, this is really the last one. Bonus tip, smile. Smiling really goes a long way, especially when you're meeting somebody. And if you smile, it'll put somebody else at ease, and there's a good chance they'll smile back at you. It's just the way the mirror neurons work and all that. I know there's a lot in there. If you have any questions about any of this, leave a comment. If you have other good people skill tips, leave them down below. This is really helpful stuff for people. So thank you for watching, and we'll do more of these sort of businessy type music videos in the future. All right, I'm Jeff Schneider. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.